Tonight, what more we are learning about the motive for the deadly terror attack in Australia. What the country's prime minister is revealing.
It would appear that there is evidence that this was inspired by a terrorist organisation.
And what Canada's spy agency is saying about threats to the Jewish community here. New details about the night before the bodies of acclaimed Hollywood director Rob Reiner and his wife were found dead in their LA home. What police are saying about their son now in jail, and the shocking claim made by the U.S. president. And the deadly surge in influenza prompting an urgent warning to parents.
This is an unusual situation where the coroner advised us of 3 influenza A-related deaths.
How to protect yourself and your children.
CTV National News with Omar Sachedina.
Good evening. We are following 2 developing stories tonight. In just a moment, we will get to what we are learning about what happened at a holiday party the night before Hollywood director Rob Reiner and his wife were found dead. But we start with new details in that unconscionable act of hatred on Bondi Beach. Late tonight, new revelations in the police investigation.
The vehicle, which is registered to the younger male, contained IEDs, but I also confirmed that it contained 2 homemade ISIS flags.
CTV's Judy Trin starts us off.
Crowds of mourners united in grief after a mass shooting on Bondi Beach. Violence that turned a celebration of Hanukkah into carnage. Australia's Prime Minister says it's motivated by Islamic State ideology.
In this act of anti-Semitism, driven by ideology, it's an extreme perversion of Islam.
The shooters killed at least 15 people and wounded dozens. This young Canadian couple ran from the chaos.
People were kind of like just ditching their cars on the sidewalk, hopping out, grabbing their kids. People were throwing their bikes down, throwing everything on the ground and just running.
The victims range in age from 10 years old to 87. Officials say the suspects were not part of a terror cell, that they worked alone. Australian media are identifying them as Sajid Akram and Naveed Akram.
Father and son. The 50-year-old is deceased. The 24-year-old is currently in hospital.
The father, Sajid, died after being shot by police. He came as a student nearly 3 decades ago. His son, Naveed, was born in Australia and previously investigated in 2019. 38 people remain in hospital. The toll could have been higher if not for the actions of Ahmed El Ahmed, a local fruit vendor from Syria. Ottawa Rabbi Chaim Mendelsohn knows the rabbi who was killed on Bondi Beach. Mendelsohn calls the bystander a hero.
He is literally the light in the darkness. He is the silver lining of this story. He is the reminder that there is a safe future for all of mankind to live together.
Australia's leaders are promising to hold an inquiry into this massacre to review security protocols and tighten already tough gun laws. Omar.
All right, Judy, thank you. Here at home, Canada's spy agency says there's no indication of a specific threat, but an intelligence brief says there is a, quote, realistic possibility of a violent extremist attack in Canada, including one targeting the Jewish community. CTV's Andrew Johnson spoke to Jewish Canadians about how they are feeling and how police are responding to the risk.
At his Vancouver bakery, Shimon Kalon is preparing the day's fresh offerings with a heavy heart and eyelids.
I don't sleep all night. I just watch TV and come in sadness.
He is horrified by the violence in Australia and also very concerned about what's going on in Canada. Over the past 2 years, data shows a rise in anti-Semitism. Kalon says he's experienced it for himself at his shop.
People here coming, screaming, and Jewish, and they try to throw chairs. I have a couple fight here. My wife, she hold me. Canada used to be a beautiful country. And today it's not.
His customers sense a disturbing anti-Semitic shift as well.
Yeah, I feel it here, like it's an undercurrent, but it's coming to the top.
Police services across the country have increased their presence around Jewish spaces and events. Advocates say they are grateful for that, but more must be done.
It doesn't start and stop with the police. We need support from all levels of government. We need our peers, our non-Jewish friends, colleagues, allies to step up, because this is an issue that we face not just as Jews but all Canadians. When one religious group is threatened, we're all threatened.
And they say there is no better time to gather as Hanukkah celebrations all over Canada still go ahead.
Come en masse. We want you. We are going to celebrate. Our holiday will be joyful. We have many wonderful celebrations coming up in the next few days.
The idea, say Jewish leaders, is to counter the hatred with kindness, that the answer to darkness is always light. Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Vancouver.
In other news, the FBI released new video and announced a cash reward in the manhunt for the suspect in the Brown University shooting.
The FBI is now offering a reward of $50,000 for information that can lead to the identification, the arrest, and the conviction of the individual responsible.
The video shows an individual in dark clothes walking near the campus just 2 hours before 2 students were shot dead and 9 others injured on Saturday. The victims include 18-year-old Mohammed Aziz Umarzokov, who was studying to become a neurosurgeon, and sophomore Ella Cook, who was the vice president of the Brown University College Republicans. The FBI has arrested 4 alleged members of an extremist group who were planning a series of bombing attacks on New Year's Eve across Southern California.
The plan stated that the IEDs would be complex pipe bombs. It included instructions on how to manufacture the bombs and contained guidance on how to avoid leaving evidence behind that could be traced back to them.
The suspects are allegedly members of a radical faction of a far-left group called the Turtle Island Liberation Front. Court documents show the 4 individuals were arrested last week east of LA, where they were allegedly preparing to test improvised explosive devices. The son of Hollywood director Rob Reiner and his wife is in jail tonight, arrested in connection with the killing of his parents. There are reports the 3 attended a party thrown by Conan O'Brien the night before where Nick Reiner was disruptive, according to guests, and that his mother and father were embarrassed by his behavior. The 32-year-old was openly struggling with addiction. Here's CTV's Andrea Case on the investigation and the tributes.
You are a meathead. What did you call me?
From a career started in front of the camera, Rob Reiner went on to be one of the most successful filmmakers of all time. The man behind so many iconic films lived in the quiet, upscale Los Angeles neighborhood of Brentwood. That quiet was shattered on Sunday afternoon when emergency crews responded to a 911 call after 3:30. At the home, they discovered 2 bodies, a man and a woman, and it was quickly ruled a homicide. Search warrants were issued, and a coroner identified the deceased as Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle Singer Reiner. The couple's bodies were discovered by their 28-year-old daughter, Romy. 6 hours later, a shocking arrest was made.
We're able to take into custody Nick Reiner, a suspect in this case.
Hi, I'm Marty DeBerge.
78-year-old Reiner was an award-winning writer, director, and actor. He was known for directing iconic films including This Is Spinal Tap, The Princess Bride, and A Few Good Men.
You can't handle the truth!
What you really take away from his movies is a generosity, right, where it's not about his style, it's about serving the work, and it's about giving room to actors.
The Reiners had been married since 1989. Ironically, it was on the set of a romantic comedy they met.
When he went into make When Harry Met Sally, he met Michelle Singer, fell in love, and changed the ending of the movie to a happy ending.
Tributes are pouring in for the couple. Jane Fonda wrote Rob and Michelle Singer Reiner were always coming up with ideas for how to make the world better, kinder. President Barack Obama wrote, "Beneath all of the stories he produced was a deep belief in the goodness of people and a lifelong commitment to putting that belief into action." Andrea Case, CTV News.
Well, compared to the 44th president, the current president struck a far different tone on social media. Donald Trump called the murders, quote, very sad, but then also went on to say that they were, quote, reportedly due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome. No evidence has been offered to support a political motive. Michelle Reiner was a photographer who actually took the picture used on the cover of Trump's book, The Art of the Deal, and later became a frequent critic of the president. Here at home, 3 children have died from flu-related complications in the Ottawa area this month as officials warn of a rapid and significant spike in cases. CTV's Abigail Beeman on the warnings and the plea.
3 children between the ages of 5 and 9 killed by influenza A complications.
This is an unusual situation where the coroner advised us of 3 influenza A-related deaths that happened recently.
2 Ottawa area health units speaking out, sending the message there's still time to get vaccinated.
The strain this year is a more dangerous strain.
Officials say the cases are still with the coroner and they don't yet know if the children had underlying medical conditions or if they got flu shots.
What we're seeing with kids this year is not unheard of, but we don't see it every year. Unfortunately, this year we're seeing a rise in pediatric cases of influenza.
Ottawa's Children's Hospital saw 300 positive flu tests between December 1st and 10th. During the same period last year, there were just 11. Flu rates are up across the country. The latest data available up to December 6 puts national positivity rates at 20.2%, highest in the Prairies and Ontario, while Ottawa's are at 36.5%.
Unfortunately, still have some highway miles ahead of us during this respiratory virus season.
Dr. Isaac Bogosh says the flu kills between 25 and 3,500 Canadians each year.
It's probably going to peak sometime around the holidays, but even after it peaks, remember, it's a long road down the other side of the mountain as well.
Renelle Chalifu and her 3 adult children get their flu shot together every year.
Not only for myself and my family, friends, but socially as well to protect everyone.
Experts again stressing it's not too late to get vaccinated, especially ahead of the busy social holiday season with parties and gatherings and people mingling from different places, reminding you to follow the basic hygiene rules, cough and sneeze into your sleeve, and consider wiping down high-touch areas like doorknobs. Omar?
All right, good advice, Abigail. Thank you. And another kind of warning from officials in BC because of more heavy rain.
As of this afternoon, there's approximately 100 properties under evacuation order and 1,200 properties under evacuation alert. This remains a dynamic and evolving situation, and the risks are real.
The province is urging people to stay away from riverbanks due to the potential for flooding and landslides with more rain in the forecast. Heavy wind knocked out power to nearly 90,000 customers in BC's Lower Mainland, Sunshine Coast, and parts of Vancouver Island. And high wind and heavy snow is hitting Atlantic Canada with up to 30 centimeters possible in Cape Breton, Nova Scotia. Many schools were closed in the province, as well as in Prince Edward Island, where high winds and heavy snow forced ferry cancellations. It has been less than a week since another Conservative MP crossed the floor to join the Liberals, and the Energy Minister says there could be more on the way. CTV's Michael Couture on those comments and what the Conservative leader is saying about the defections.
Outside Michael Maw's constituency office, a small but vocal protest demanded answers to why the Markham Unionville MP crossed the floor to the Liberals.
I feel very upset, and we fight for our future. We fight for democracy. We fight for our children.
In a statement last week, Maw said he made his decision after listening carefully to the people in his riding about the direction of the country. Sources tell CTV News the Energy Minister helped recruit the former Conservative. Asked if there are others ready to join the government, Hodgson would only say this.
Let's say I'm getting lots of inquiries.
Conservative Alberta MP Matt Genereux met with Prime Minister Carney in November before deciding to quit politics. That was just days after Nova Scotia MP Chris D'Entremont crossed the floor, citing Pierre Poilievre's leadership. Now, in an interview with CTV's chief political correspondent Vassy Kapelos, the Conservative leader denied he is a liability to his party.
I'm very troubled that they made that decision, but the people in their ridings voted for the Conservative agenda that I'm continually leading on in the House of Commons.
One more floor crossing would secure a majority government for the Liberals. While he wasn't able to rule out more defections, Poilievre called the move undemocratic.
If Mark Carney believes that he should have a majority to go ahead with the high-cost policies he's running on, then he should get that mandate from Canadians in an election, not through dirty backroom deals.
Even if another Conservative crosses the floor, Poilievre says he will remain at the helm of his party for his leadership review in January. Omar?
All right, Mike, thank you. The cost of living, an ongoing issue of concern and debate in the House of Commons, and today new data. Canada's inflation rate held steady last month, but food prices saw the biggest rise in nearly 2 years. CTV's Colton Prale breaks down the cost for Canadians. Colton, what do the new numbers tell us?
Omar, today's data paints a pair of contrasting pictures. A national economy showing signs of improvement, but one where everyday Canadians are seeing their monthly and weekly bills climb even higher. At a headline 2.2% increase, inflation in November was on par with October, but core metrics closely monitored by the Bank of Canada dropped below 3% for the first time since March, a sign its fiscal policy is working. But ask Canadians how they feel about the economy, and it's a very different picture.
It's the prices that we're interacting with every day that show prices have increased way more than our wages. And so you have that sticker shock value when you're at the grocery store, when you get your cell phone bill every month.
Prices for fresh or frozen beef are up nearly 18% year over year. Coffee is almost 28% more expensive. And this month, higher prices for fresh fruit, berries, sugars, and confectionery mean grocery prices are 4.7% higher year over year, the biggest jump in 2 years. Canadians are also paying more for their cell service, which climbed nearly 13% this year. According to Thiessen, part of the reason Canadians are feeling the impacts of inflation more is that in the last 4 years, food prices have climbed roughly 30%, while wages have jumped only 20%. Omar.
Colton, thank you. Coming up.
I got nothing left. What I got is there. That's where I want to be.
How this man's heartbreaking loss is driving his mission to save lives. A Newfoundland man says he has nothing left but the resolve to push for better rural emergency services after watching his longtime partner die in his arms, waiting for an ambulance. CTV's Garrett Barry on the crushing loss and the fight to save lives.
Mike Williams planted this tree in Placentia's Dermot McGettigan Cemetery years ago. He always knew it would be the final home for both him and his life partner, Lori. He just never knew that forever would come so soon.
I got nothing left. What I got is there. That's where I want to be.
Overpowering grief. Williams says Lori perished in his arms while he and his daughter waited well more than an hour for paramedics to arrive. By the time they came and got her into a hospital, Williams said it was simply too late.
I knew she was dead. She died in my arms. Because I told her, if you see your mom, go on with her.
Williams says he was told the ambulance that arrived in Dunnville that day came from the town of St. Bride's, a community more than 50 kilometers away. Lori had been injured in a car accident a few days prior. The night before she died, she was complaining of swelling and pains in her neck and head. Mike says he hasn't yet received an autopsy report that would further explain why Lori died. Williams says he's left to wonder if ambulance services have been permanently cut in his area, since Newfoundland and Labrador's Provincial Health Board took over all ambulance operation across the province. Officials said at the time the change would improve wait times. In September, the service was contracted out to Medavie Health Canada. Neither Medavie nor Newfoundland and Labrador Health Services have responded to questions about this story. Williams says he is now dedicated to fighting for better service for his community and all rural communities in the province.
Many more will go. If we don't change, we got to change this. We got to fight. And I'm not fighting for me today. I want to be there. I don't even want to be here. I want to be there with her.
Garrett Barry, CTV News in Placentia, Newfoundland and Labrador.
Still ahead. Remembering a funk and R&B pioneer. Some sad news from the world of daytime television. Soap star Anthony Geary has died.
I don't tell you how to run your life, so don't tell me how to run mine, okay?
Geary starred on General Hospital as Luke Spencer for more than 30 years, appearing in nearly 2,000 episodes. He also won 8 Daytime Emmy Awards. He retired in 2015 and moved to Amsterdam with his husband. Geary died of complications from his surgical procedure. He was 78. And a star funk and R&B singer who had hits in the 1970s and 80s has died. She's a bad man. Carl Carlton was born in Detroit and scored his biggest hit with the Grammy-nominated song She's a Bad Mama Jamma. He'll also be remembered for his rendition of this classic. Carl Carlton was 72 years old. Still ahead, growing the women's game. How to keep the momentum going on and off the ice. We've seen a rise in popularity for women's hockey across Canada, especially with the PWHL. Today, Hockey Canada unveiled some new ways to keep growing. CTV's Jesse Thomas is ringside with reaction.
The need for girls hockey and the demand for girls hockey is there. What we are saying is we just can't just expect year over year. We have to make dramatic changes.
At its core, the report calls for a national standardized youth development program with stronger national oversight. Nova Scotia's Corey Chevry has seen the game from every angle, as a player at St. Mary's University and now as a coach with the women's national team and as head coach of the Montreal Victoire in the PWHL.
I think we still continue to see growth in the women's game across the country, and being from the Maritimes and the Atlantic provinces, we're seeing growth there as well, not only with players but coaches, officiating, and bench staff.
The blueprint is pushing to grow leadership opportunities for women in the sport while also giving girls the same chances as boys to get on the ice and develop their skills.
Well, there wasn't really any just for girls organizations. It was mostly girls would just play on boys' teams.
St. Mary's forward Jill Duggan is in the final stretch of her university hockey career. She grew up playing competitive hockey with the boys until she was 13.
I honestly wouldn't change anything.
Across the country, 115,000 girls were registered in minor hockey last year. By 2030, Hockey Canada wants that number to climb past 170,000. Dugan has seen the sport evolve, and putting the women's game in the spotlight will help.
When I was younger, I looked up to girls on the Canadian team, but now they have an actual league.
The PWHL is coming to Halifax on Wednesday, with Montreal taking on Toronto. It's a chance to see the best in the world.
It's just going to open the eyes. It's going to set dreams higher. It's going to really push the boundaries of what is possible in the Maritimes.
Jesse Thomas, CTV News, Halifax.
And that's a snapshot of this Monday for all of us at CTV National News. Thank you for watching. Good night and see you tomorrow.